Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Nonstop Talking with your girl here, Vivian Liu. Recently I discussed the best shows and movies I watched in 2021. So today I am going to be negatively counting down the worst or most disappointing things I watched in 2021. At number 10 is A Cinderella Story, Once Upon a Song. This is a rewatch for me, and the first time I watched this, I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. But upon rewatch, I realized that there's certain things that hasn't aged well, and there are certain things I would consider insensitive. So it just didn't sit well with me. So I personally realized upon rewatch that this was a lot worse than I had thought it to be. But because since it was a rewatch, I just feel like it's best to just kind of start it off than put it so low. This is the third movie in the A Cinderella Story, I guess, movie franchise starring Lucy Hale. And in this, the story is just, an orphan girl wants to be a singer, but she's thwarted by her stepmother and stepsisters. And it isn't until a record producer's son starts attending her school that things might possibly change for her. But yeah, in short, it didn't sit well with me upon rewatch, and that's why it's starting us off on this list. Number 9 is The Kissing Booth 3. I knew this movie was going to end up on this list. I didn't know where, but it was going to end up on this list. I saw the first one and I thought it was fun in a dumb way. I saw the second one and I realized that it was no longer fun in a dumb way. It was just dumb, but I feel like once you've committed to the first two, why wouldn't you watch the third finale? So I didn't have any high hopes for the third movie. The first movie follows childhood friends Elle and Lee, and at the school carnival during the kissing booth, Elle kisses Lee's older brother Noah, and then drama kind of ensues from there. This third one was just so unnecessary and just very stupid, but I mean, I was asinine enough to sit through and watch it. So what does that say about me? Number 8 is Baby Steps, 母女 or 满月. I watched this because it was recommended to me during API month on Hulu. The story is about a Taiwanese American gay man who is trying to have a baby via surrogacy and is trying to gain approval from his, I guess, tiger mom. I feel like the tiger mom aspect in this was kind of overplayed, but that wasn't my main issue. So the main character is Danny and his SO is Tate. And Danny is super inconsiderate to his SO, to a point where I'm just kind of why are these two together? Why are we pretending that these two are even in love and trying to have a baby together? Danny is not a good main character. Like I said, he's not considerate to his partner, and he's also he is manipulative to the person who becomes the surrogate mother. And you're supposed to sympathize with the main character's plight in this movie, but it's really hard to when he's not a really nice person. And then on top of that, you're supposed to find the tiger mom redeeming, but you also don't. All in all, I felt that the writing just failed this movie, and it wasn't able to push the message that it wanted to push. Number 7 is Christmas with a Prince. Now, I love Christmas movies, especially the romance ones. I have a playlist about them, which I will link down below. Christmas with a Prince had all the makings there, right? So we have the royal aspect. I think Prince Alexander gets injured during a skiing accident, and now he's under Dr. Tasha's care. And Dr. Tasha and Prince Alexander used to go to school together, and she had a crush on him when they were in school, and she got rejected, and now she's kind of prejudiced against this supposedly self-absorbed prince. I'll admit, I don't hate this per se. The movie was so goofy that it was kind of fun in a way. However, there were just some things I don't think I can let it get away with. And mainly, first of all, there was just a lack of chemistry between the two leads. Like, don't peddle a romance movie if, like, the banter isn't there. And then another thing is that the royal outfits look really cheaply made, and it's very, like, obvious. So it doesn't look good like that, you know? And I don't know why I found the dialogue to be, like, very cringy. So it's just kind of like, ooh, you know, that kind of feeling when you're watching this, which is not what you want from a romance movie. I would say, like, if you want like a Christmas royal romance movie that is like of the same kind of, I would recommend was it A Christmas Prince? Yes, it's A Christmas Prince, and it's on Netflix. I'm getting all the titles mixed up. So if Netflix had the entire trilogy, because I found out later on that it was a trilogy, for Christmas with a Prince, which is the one I'm currently talking about, I would probably watch it all. Number 6 is A Castle for Christmas. This is a story about an American writer, Sophie, who needs to get away after she writes books that, like, upset her fans. And she decides to fly to Scotland to visit the castle that her father kind of, I guess, grew up in when he was a kid, and she wants to buy the castle, but the current Duke, Miles, doesn't want to sell it to her, and they end up entering in this agreement where the two of them are forced to live with each other. I watched this for 2 reasons. Number 1 is the Scottish setting. Scotland is on my list as one of the places I really, really want to visit. And number 2, I wanted to support a romance with 2 leads in their 50s. However, A Castle for Christmas is very boring. I'm so sorry, but it's very boring, and the acting is kind of awkward, especially like with Brooke Shields. The romance happens really quick, so I didn't get the feels that I wanted. In addition, there's like this ending bit with Drew Barrymore and her show, and it was very cringy. And honestly, I just could not vibe with this movie at all. Number 5 is Everything's Gonna Be Okay Season 2. Season 1 was decent. It was good, and I was excited for Season 2 to do better. However, I don't know if it was because they knew they were gonna get canceled that they decided to, like, rush everything. The story brought up, or the second season brought up a lot of questions and new plots that they were not able to answer and get through, which was very disappointing. In addition, a lot of the characters that I previously admired made a lot of questionable decisions that I just could not understand. So I just felt like they really, really dropped the ball with the second season, and it was disappointing that it kind of went out in this way. Number 4 is Prodigal Son Season 2. Now, this show has such a fantastic concept. It's about the son of a serial killer who becomes a police consultant to help him solve crime because he studies behavior. And sometimes he will call up Daddy Dearest in the mental facility to help him solve crime. And honestly, the concept, so good. The first season's execution wasn't perfect, but it had so much potential. And honestly, Michael Sheen is in this, so, like, just think of the potential, right? But I don't know what happened with this second season. It went nutsos. There was a lot of things that were happening. I think it lost what the original premise was, and it went in so many directions. It was just such a letdown, and then it got canceled. And honestly, I can totally understand why the viewership dipped and why it got canceled, because the second season was not it at all. Honestly, I'm just really disappointed because the first season had so much potential, and for the second season to toss it all away like that and not see it, heartbreaking. Number 3 is Scorpion seasons 3 and 4. So I was just talking about like how heartbreakingly disappointing Prodigal Son is. Well, if we're on that topic, Scorpion really takes the cake. I went from loving the first season and giving it a 4 out of 5 to having the third and fourth season show up on my worst list. That just shows you how far this show fell. I honestly don't know what went wrong with Scorpion. It started off with a bang, so terrific, and then it just kind of starts like falling a little bit, and then it just slides right downhill, and it can't pick itself up, and it can never pick itself back up now because it got canceled. So we'll never have any resolution, which is just very disappointing and very upsetting. Like, it just makes me mad thinking about Scorpion. Like, damn it. I sat through that. Number 2 is Vanguard. This is a Chinese film, and honestly, I sometimes wonder what happened to Jackie Chan. I feel like all his most like recent movies are just, they never live up to how good his previous films were or how entertaining his previous films were. So with this, I mainly, like, I didn't even watch it for Jackie Chan. I watched it for Yang Yang, and that was not even a good enough reason to watch it because this film was not good. The CGI was abysmal. The acting, like, I don't know why they got away with, like, the dialogue. Oh my god. I watched this with my boyfriend and we're just kind of like, what is going on? Like, the cheese. And it's not like even entertaining cheese. Like, it's just really bad, awkward, cringy, like, cheese. And I feel like if you watch enough like Chinese dramas and watch enough Chinese movies and shows like I do, you do eventually like pick up the pieces of propaganda here and there, and sometimes you just like get used to it and you sit through it. But for this, it was just so strong that I was like, oh man, this was already a bad movie and now I have to sit through this stuff too. Like, no thank you. Number 1 is Raising the Bar. Honestly, Raising the Bar is at the number 1 spot because it was the only movie I think I gave like a straight up 1 out of 5 to, but I honestly cannot remember why. I was watching a lot of movies that were similar to it at the time, and let me look over my notes as to why I gave this a 1 out of 5. So I was watching a lot of like these gymnastic movies because they were all showing up on Netflix, and I thought it would be fun to watch them in preparation of the Olympics, and they all kind of blurred together. So let me check my notes, like I said, as to why I didn't like this. So I think mainly I complained about the nonsensical plot, bad acting, very peculiar like cinematography choices. The characters, they're introduced like video game character profiles. Like, it's very weird, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And now that I've seen that complaint, I'm finally reminded of how silly this movie was. Like, this movie was just very, very silly. And honestly, that is it for my worst movies and shows I watched in 2021. I felt like as I got down the list, I got a little bit like more emotional, and then I leveled out at the first one. It's a sunny day today, so I need to go and do the blinds, and I'm so sorry for like affecting this. Sorry if it got like distracting as I was filming this, and I hope that no one was offended by the movies and shows I put on my worst list. Leave in the comments below if you've seen any of these, and if you agree with me, or if you want to let me know what's something I shouldn't watch. Like, what was your worst like movie or TV show that you watched in 2021? I am a bit behind with my year-end series, but I will finish it eventually. So outro time. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video whenever that is. Bye.